No, that's not
On
me.
your name.
The USNH, the USNH, that's above mine. That's the actual, that's what'll be the service when they come into it.
No. You say Sharon. Are you Sharon?
Oh, at USNH. Oh, that's funny. That was
Yeah.
because I went to something where I had to identify myself. Thank you for mentioning that.
So I thought you may be taking on like a
No.
technical on the Zoom today.
I
Okay.
couldn't figure out what you're talking about. Now I see what you mean.
Yeah. Where someone else's pronouns might be, you have your title.
I have USNH like I'm the whole thing here.
Like you're the host of the Zoom.
Like I'm the host.
Right.
All it was just an error. I think I better fix it.
It's good though. It's good though because it told me that you're like, somebody
a USNH person
who
didn't hurt anything.
Who would be identified that way in a different setting. So
that's right.
Tells me you're very involved.
We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are justice-seeking people. We are justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing. We are young and old together. We are young and old together, and we are singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing for. We are a land of many colors. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing for. We are gay and straight together. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing for our lives. We are gentle, loving people. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing for our lives. Whoops.
Good morning. I'm Ocean Phillips. My pronouns are they and them, and he and him are also okay. I want to welcome you to this convergence of celebrations today. We have a convergence of the celebration of the joys of pride, and also the celebration of this unique and improbable experiment that began in the United States in 1776. And I hope that you can feel many things to be proud about and many things to find joy in. And so I want to ask also, as I've heard it said, that you put your phones in worship mode, so we're not disturbed during here. Okay. Also there, I wanted to make a note, there's a special table in the back corner over there that has coloring sheets, mandalas, and some of them are pride themed for anyone, children of any ages, 99 and below, that who might like to keep their hands busy during the service. And then also there's an announcement on Saturday, July the 16th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., we'll have the annual Olympic Games right here at USNH. The event is open to all, and you can talk with the Director of Lifespan Religious Education, Jesse Greist, for more details.
This is called the Merger Poem by Judy Chicago. And then all that has divided us will merge.
And then compassion will be wedded to power.
And then softness will come to a world that is harsh and unkind.
And then all people will be gentle.
And then all people will be strong.
And then no person will be subject to another's will.
And then all will be rich and free and varied.
And then the greed of some will give way to the needs of many.
And then all will share equally in the earth's abundance.
And then all will care for the sick and the weak and the old.
And then all will nourish the young.
And then all will cherish life's creatures.
And then all will live in harmony with one another and the earth.
And then everywhere will be called Eden once again.
As Cedro lights the chalice, I'd like to share these words with you. May the light of the chalice pass through the prism of love and cast a rainbow that welcomes all into this space and time.
Covenant lies at the center of how Unitarian Universalists gather in community. We are united not by a particular set of beliefs, but by the promises we make about how we will be together, how we will treat each other, and how we will seek to mend relationships when we fall short of our aspirations. Each week, we recite a brief version of our covenant. I encourage you to read the full covenant on our website. While the following words express our intentions in writing, our true covenant lives and breathes in our actions. Please join me now in reciting the words that appear in your order of service or in the chat on the live stream. We covenant together to create and nurture a culture of respect and kindness, and to engage in the spiritual and everyday practice of loving more generously. To this end, we will strive to be open, value differences, listen deeply, use kind language, speak our truths, work with conflict, seek humor and joy.
My name is Arjuna Greist. I grew up here. As a Unitarian Universalist, I set myself a spiritual challenge to live our first principle, which is to affirm and promote respect for the inherent worth and dignity of every person. With most people, this is relatively easy. We might not get along, but I can recognize and respect the worth and dignity that is inherent in them just for being human. With others, such as Fred Phelps, the founder and leader of the Westboro Baptist Church, the people who picketed funerals, and his noxious, dangerous brand of hate, it has been much more difficult. So as the urge to picket his funeral and give his family/cult a taste of their own poisonous medicine surged within me, I decided to write instead this song. It's called Freddie in Heaven. Freddie opened his eyes and looked all around. It seemed like the stars were coming down. He called out for Jesus, but he could not make a sound. A chorus sang out as he started to rise. Welcome to heaven. We're so glad you're here. We've been waiting to see you for so many years. We offer forgiveness for all that you've done and said. Do not try to speak, but open your heart and listen instead. And then she appeared in a heavenly glow. She soothed him and said, "You're scared, I know. It has always been fear that made you cause so much pain. But now that you're here, you can be happy again. 'Cause now you're in heaven. The reason's quite clear. All our lives we stood for love and freedom. And that's what we stand for here. We're the children who were thrown out for being gay. We're the ones who were silenced for what we had to say. But now we can forgive you. 'Cause it's our heaven too." Freddie started to weep. She held him as he cried. He found he could only ask her why. "If I were you, having lived what I put you through, I would have damned me to hell for 1,000,000 years." She said, "Then you should be thankful heaven's not run by you, but by witches and feminists and queers. And now you're in heaven." Sing it with me. Now you're in heaven. Now you're in heaven. Now you're in heaven.
I invite you now to join me in holding in your hearts the joys and sorrows of those around you. Excuse me. Closing your eyes and going inward if you are comfortable doing so. Today, some awoke with a sorrow so great, they asked for the help of this community to carry it. Others woke with a joy so great, it must be shared. The one joy we have today is that we're together celebrating Pride. The sorrows, however. Bernice Marie Daly's sister, Mary Cawley, passed away on June 12th. She was a resident at Glen Clove Nursing Home on Long Island and just celebrated her 90th birthday. Joni Messner's mother, Jane Bryan Simcoe, died on Thursday, June 16, after a long illness. Joni, her sister, and daughter, Adele, were with her. Joni writes, "People at USNH have been very sweet and supportive, reaching out to me and sending cards, etc. I am really grateful. Jane Mayfield, longtime member of the Unitarian Society of New Haven, died on November 25th, 2021. A memorial service will be held here at the Unitarian Society at 12 p.m. July 23rd, with a reception to follow at 1 p.m. In lieu of flowers, please donate to the League of Women Voters. Thank you.
I'm going to be leading you in a guided meditation, and this is choice. If you participate or not, you can do what feels right for you. And I want to invite you, if it feels right to you, to put your hands on your heart and just examine what's in your heart at this time. We're now here celebrating joys of pride and the freedoms that we've been provided in this great country, but we've been going through a pretty tumultuous time, to say the least. So there may be other things in our heart that we're containing at the same time. And so I just want you to look for the light inside your heart, not anywhere else, but inside your heart. Look for the light that the world needs right now. And realize that source of light is within you and shining. And you might notice, as you pay attention to it, the light is growing stronger. And next, I want you to look for the peace that the world needs now within your own heart. That layer of peace that exudes on a deeper level beyond all the turmoil and the daily frustrations and disappointments. There's a peace running underneath. And then look for the love that this world needs from within your heart, the compassion, the empathy within your heart, and nurture that. And then I want you to bring your attention to all the other souls that are gathered here that are also finding that love, that peace, and that light within themselves, and seeing how that we're all like trees with deep roots going into the earth that connect and communicate with one another. And then finally, I leave you to reflect on how around the world there are many souls that are reaching out for the light, the peace, and the love that can bring lasting change to this world.
One of the gifts that the LGBTQ plus community brings to the world is the courage to be unapologetically yourself. I even cry on when I'm asking for money. I mean, real, what are you going to do? In this spiritual community, we all come together to help each other live with courage and authenticity, compassion and generosity. Today, like all days, I hope you'll draw some of that generosity to support USNH financially if you can. There'll be collection plates and there's instruction there. I also urge you and thank you for all the time and effort you all contribute to this congregation, as well as your funds. And I think I urge you too to work with us in the LBGT community and a project we're going to be working with through your contributions here with the Pride Center on LGBTQ elder affinity and advocacy groups. And so we'd love to have your participation as well as the funds that you give here going forward. I also would just put in a plug for everybody in this time to give what money you can and what time you can to the social justice funds and the social justice causes that we all care about and seem to be really under siege right now. So thank you, and we appreciate your donation to USNH in that effort as well.
The title of this song is I Enjoy Being a Crone. Some people find that odd, but then for my whole life, I have been considered to be rather odd. My father even said, Elaine, from the time you were 4 years old, I knew we had a strange bird. That would be me. But it was actually winter solstice, 2020, when this song came to me. I enjoy being a crone. It was because I was really struggling with the fact that I, in 2021, was anticipating having almost all of my teeth pulled. Ooh. So this song came to me as a gift, as many of my songs do. And it's called, I Enjoy Being a Crone. I'm a queer, dyke, non-binary woman. Those are some of the labels I own. I'm a hip crip with visions who hears voices, and I do. And I enjoy being a crone. I'm glad to embrace my inner grandma, along with my spunky inner child. Now I'm gray and wrinkled and almost toothless. I still have 8. While inside I'm still juicy and wild. I know that my spirit lives forever. I'm glad that I'm really not alone. I'm happy to be here, and then hereafter I enjoy being a crone. I'm glad being in the crone zone. I enjoy I didn't know if I could hit that note. Oh, well.
Thank you for that rousing offertory, Elaine, and your guidance through all the service. You know, our theme here is really, you know, celebrating the joys of pride that we celebrate. We recognize it in the month of June, but for those of us that are part of the, I'll call it the queer community or the rainbow community, it's something we celebrate every day of our lives. But I think it's also important to pay some recognition to the sorrows that are connected with one's journey coming out of the queer community. And just reflect for a moment on, you know, when, imagine growing up and you're a young person and, you know, especially I think that age is around 6 or 7 and people are like, you know, come home and like, mommy, I want to, you know, if they're a boy, then, okay, I want to marry the girl next to me. I don't know, that was kind of in my generation anyway. But imagine coming home and telling your parents, I want to marry my boyfriend, if I'm a boy, you know, and the kind of concerned response that parents may get. Or, that doesn't only happen just at childhood, but it can happen at any stage in a person's life, you know, that people are coming out later in life. People are coming out in marriage, and there's a sorrow in that, you know, a sorrow in the sense that because of the way that society is, and especially when I was growing up in the 50s, so much conformity that it was kind of a sadness to your parents that they have to bear that burden and that concern that they have. And imagine, you know, waking and realizing, and it can happen at any age too, to recognize that the gender that you're associated with is not the gender that you're connected with. And that if you're told that is wrong, or that, you know, you're confused or you're mixed up, then there's even greater sorrow upon that. So you learn that actually can't trust yourself. You've got to look to other people to tell you what you should be and who you should be. But I think there's kind of a recognition that all of us, even if we're in the Pride community, to understand that, you know, generally Pride celebrations are recognized by, you know, drag queens are a big draw now. It's like everyone, you know, like Drew Paul's drag show is kind of like become ubiquitous in colleges and so forth. And part of the reason for that kind of, you know, over the top sometimes is because we're really coming out and celebrating ourselves in a world where we could never freely be celebrated, freely express ourselves, and that where, you know, we might be guarded constantly, even still today, in our workplaces and places like, well, how much do I come out? And it is something that we do not once. You don't do it suddenly, it's an announcement, but it's like you find that again and again you're having to do this. And as Maggie mentioned, we're working now with LGBTQ elders. And for some of them, it's kind of like, okay, going into the nursing home and so forth, am I going to have to come out again? Or maybe I should go back in the closet because there aren't very many facilities around. So it's kind of risky if I come out and it's not, you know. So I just want to sort of put a highlight on what sometimes seems very external and so forth, but it's deeply rooted in our need for acceptance. And I think that acceptance is first, we have to accept ourselves. And that's very hard in a world that is conforming. So I just want to pay a little recognition to that and hope that we can all feel a sense of whoever we are, because we're saying pride is for everyone, So it's like, if I can come out as a queer, non-binary person and be okay with that, then whoever you are, and if you're cisgendered, heteronormative, then you can be accepting of that in everyone. So pride is just a recognition that we all should be accepted for who we are, and for the gifts that we bring from that unique expression. Thank you.
So I wrote this little manifesta about 25 years ago when I was 18, 19. And for a while, things that I was writing about seemed to be getting a bit better as we collectively worked to bend the arc of the universe toward justice. And the last week or two, I've seen some painful setbacks, and this has seemed ever more relevant. We must recommit ourselves to the work. My mother expressed some trepidation about this piece, if it was really appropriate for a Sunday morning service, but I trust you, and you can go along with me, yes? All right.
Yes.
Normal is hatred, and normal is greed. Normal is living beyond our means. Normal is the church, and normal is the steeple. Normal is profits over people. Normal is straight and male and white, getting pulled over if you don't look right. Normal is bombing abortion clinics, saving the tissue, and killing the doctor. Normal is screaming at a woman walking in, preaching damnation because somebody knocked her up, never knowing that her heart is torn, never giving a goddamn thing to the kids already born. Normal is a crackdown in the years of election on those bad girls who give decent normal men erections by mayors, chiefs, and congressmen, Harry, Dick, and Tom, who it just so happens late last night were only known as John. Normal is a redwood forest, seen in terms of paper. Normal is a child's laughter, turning into vapor as she sews in a factory for like 9 cents a day. And somebody buys a t-shirt and thinks, 60 isn't much to pay. Not for Gap, Guess, Tommy, Nike, Swish. Anyway, normal is animals who never feel the ground, fed through tubes in cages much too small to even turn around, bred to feed a constant need for over-consumption. Normal is apathy, arrogance, and assumption. Normal is Band-Aids instead of prevention, birth lying down because of doctors' pretension. Normal's not questioning the status quo. Normal is, just the way it goes. Normal's more money for prisons than schools. Normal is using the master's tools, the line between church and state crumbling like sod. Normal is a pledge to this one nation under God. Normal's like $10.50 for a movie with no plot, just advertising pretty stars and not so special effects. Normal is incinerators poisoning the have-nots. Normal is laws against having oral sex. Normal is a euphemism coming down the wire, collateral damage, ethnic cleansing, friendly fire, till we hardly even realize that war means people die. And nobody ever wins. Maybe grief and madness tie. Normal's testing lipstick on a rabbit's open eye. Corporations telling their news media to lie. Normal's rape your wife. She has to honor and obey. Normal's being judged by how much you freaking weigh. Normal is toxic waste and cigarettes. Normal is not cleaning up our mess. Normal is lies and hypocrisy. Normal is girls getting screwed but not wet. Normal is being controlled by fear. Us versus them and you versus me. And I'd like to say that I've seen normal. And honey, I'd rather be queer.
oh boy, I get to follow that. My name is Tristan Grice. I am Arjuna's proud spouse. And when I was asked to give this reflection, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to say. I'm an out proud trans man, but for the first 25 years of my adult life, I was an out proud butch lesbian. And I'm proud of both of those identities. The theme for this service is the joy of pride is for everyone. And I wanted to walk down memory lane with you for a little bit, if you don't mind. I remember my first Pride March. It was in Northampton. I was 24. And when I stepped off onto that street for the first time, it was my coming out. And I felt proud and brave and so much courage in that moment. But best of all, I didn't feel alone. I wasn't deviant or I wasn't sick on that day. But best of all, I was not alone. I was coming out. See, in those days, this was in 1989, the Northampton Pride March was a protest, and it was an act of power and defiance. A Baptist church from nearby used to chase the march down Main Street filled with people, yelling out the windows, telling us we were going to hell, we were sinners, we were sick, and they chased us all the way down the street. They were part of the march. It was horrible. But we didn't care. We marched anyway. The teachers, and there was a huge contingent of educators at those pride marches, all had to wear paper bags over their faces because if they were seen and recognized, they could lose their jobs. The church youth group, this is the Baptist youth group, used to try to stop the rally every year. They would march into the middle of the rally and start yelling to drown out the speakers, telling us again that we were sick and going to hell and Jesus could save us. And the first year I went, we just surrounded them and yelled back until we drove them out of the rally. You see, back then, according to those people, we weren't supposed to be proud. There wasn't supposed to be joy. We were, in their eyes, we were considered an abomination. Homosexuality was wrong. I think we need to remember that Pride marches weren't always, and the month of Pride wasn't always about a big party. It started as an act of protest. It was a group of people who got this huge, giant message from all around them, including their families, who often kicked us out the minute they found out what we were. It was a huge statement to everyone that, no, I'm not sick. Yes, I am lovable. Yes, I do love myself. And together, we have so much more power than you. And that's what Pride was about. Now, there were other aspects to Pride besides the fact that it was an act of utter revolution on every level. It was also healing. The shot of energy and joy I got that one day of the year carried me through the rest of the year until the next Pride March. It was such a gift to go to Pride, to be safe enough to go to Pride, which was also a gift. I think for every person who marched, there were at least 1,000, maybe more, who couldn't. I got to see elders. I got to find out that there were more than just queer people my age. There were elders. The first time I saw a lesbian who wore a t-shirt, "This is what an old lesbian looks like," I felt so much joy. I can survive. I can get there. This is great. I have a future. Because back then I wasn't sure I did. I really wasn't sure I could survive. I was up here out from Kansas all by myself. No support. Living from, day to day, hand to mouth, and I didn't know if I would get to grow old. But Pride gave me hope. Here in our New England bubble, I think perhaps some of us have forgotten, or maybe never even knew, that Pride started as a protest, as a revolutionary act, as an act of courage. And still today across this nation, there are many, many GLBTQ people who still live in the closet, who still live in fear, who would still lose everything, their family, their jobs, their churches, their places at university if they came out. And Pride and the joy of Pride is for them because Pride serves as a beacon of hope. And it is needed just as much today as it was in 1989. So when I read the title of this service, and the joy of Pride is for everyone, there was a selfish part of me that said, no, it really isn't. It's for us. It's for queers. It's our joy. And we fought hard for it. But then I started thinking some more in a more Unitarian Universalist way. And, and I realized, no, Pride is for everyone. It's especially for people who get it and support us, allies. But it's for everyone because I believe that when one group rises, everyone rises. And that perhaps today, the kids at that Baptist church who marched into the middle of our rally yelling at us, perhaps today, 30 years later, they might get it. And so in that respect, Pride was for them too. And I'm okay with that. So I guess what I really wanted to say to all of you is that I invite you to join Pride with us and feel joy. And please, though, try to understand, Pride wasn't always a big party. It was and is an act of absolute and utter revolution.
Oh, how much I agree with what has been said and expressed. I've never been accused of being normal. I'm going to read something. But first I'm going to tell you a couple of things. And I'm looking at the time, and I am a charter member of On and On Anonymous. I can go on and on anon. So I will try to be brief. But this is just too big. What's going on is too big not to talk about it and not to share what's welling up inside of me that I feel needs to be said. On June 23rd, 1972, woohoo! I was one of the founding mothers of the Atlanta Lesbian Feminist Alliance. Wow. We just had our 50th anniversary. And I was invited to be part of it and was recognized. Organizations go through developmental stages just like human beings do. And so the Atlanta Lesbian Feminist Alliance was at a different stage than I was at, and I had to back away, and I was shunned. So there I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and the organization that was the lesbian organization didn't want me. And then I got stabbed in the back. And none of my sisters reached out to me. I was still in Atlanta, Georgia. And now, after 50 years, healing can happen. I'm sharing this with you because so many of us carry such deep, painful things that have happened. And I want you to know that healing is possible when we're open and willing. And it's our responsibility to do what we can to be as open as possible, and also to forgive as much as possible, and to especially forgive ourselves. And oh, I remember what it felt like the first few times in demonstrations. And this was written by a wonderful woman. I was still in Buffalo, New York. Written by Madeline Davis. On March 14th, 1971. Now, this was the state capital of New York. And guess what had happened in New York City? Woohoo! The Stonewall Uprising. And this was one of the first major marches outside of New York City. I wasn't there, but this is a poem. From the March on the Capitol, Albany, New York, March 14th, 1971, by Madeline Davis. My people, my beautiful people, so long in darkness, standing in the sun, fists raised in joy, in anger, all together on the marble steps. Hear us, we are people. We are 1,000 out of 1,000,000. We are good. We are truth. We are love. So many feet marching. What to do about mace, about gas, about rocks? Together, strength overcoming our fear. Sisters, my lovely sisters, hair streaming, voices powered in trust, in love. Our bodies are our own. Free our sisters, free ourselves. My beautiful sisters, I have never been so in love before. My brothers, joy, color, belts, buckles, sound, touch, together, brotherhood. I have always loved you, sometimes even more. And today, you are power. We are one. Speak for us, for our outrage, for our love. Speak for our strength. In the first sun of the spring, we shall melt all the snows of the earth with the heat of our cries. We shall make the air clean of iniquities. Join us, join us, join us. 2, 4, 6, 8, 3, 5, 7, 9. Laughing, shouting, hands and arms, our bodies close in power, in love. No more you, no more me. We are unity and blood. We are flesh in the streets. We are good. We are truth. And yes, Tristan, it's a beautiful day for a revolution.
Good morning. My name is Paul Trotta, and I was asked to read the words of Amy Glick, who is attending a funeral and could not be with us, and I was very happy to be able to do so. I am Amy Glick. I've been a member of USNH for about 25 years. My children grew up in this congregation, and as young adults, both have come out as queer. Here's one story about me being an ally. My husband and I were at a diner where the tables were very close together, and a family sitting next to us was a multi-generational group, which included a loud, jovial grandpa and a young adult with Down syndrome. It was impossible not to overhear their conversation. Grandpa was making loud fun of Caitlyn Jenner, who had recently come out very publicly as transgender. And for those who don't know, Jenner is a former male celebrity athlete and a member of the Kardashian family. This went on and on and on, and included some very disparaging remarks. The more I heard, the more upset I became. I thought I would explode. It was all I could do to restrain myself. There I was in a public place, and there he was with family members. I just couldn't. The group finished their meal and left the building. Grandpa stayed behind to settle the bill, and I saw my opening. Somehow I found the words. I told him how much he had upset me, as I was the mother of a transgender child. I said I was surprised that he, who seemed to have a family member who was also different and who may likely have been the target of discrimination and misunderstanding, could turn around and speak the way he had about someone else. In that moment, the light went on for this man. He apologized, and we had a heartfelt conversation. I hope, and I'll bet, he went home and told his family about what I'd said. For me, being an ally is one step, one conversation, and one person at a time.
We're not here to build walls. Our community isn't gated. We were built around the principle that those who are different shouldn't be hated. People using newer labels should be sitting at our tables. Slippery slopes and trenders are just conservative fables. No one bears the burden of representation or has to cater their lives to oppressive appreciation. We are more than this fear. We are here and we're queer and we'll stand up for all if our words are sincere. In the end, love is love and gender is personal. Acceptance is broad, unconditional, and versatile. We're more than the letters L, G, B, and T, and every last one of us deserves the right to be. Other people's labels don't hurt or define us, and we protect nothing when we slam the door behind us.
I knew it would go out. We're gonna keep on moving forward.
Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. I'm gonna keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Never turning back. Never turning back. I'm gonna keep on singing loudly. Sing loudly. Keep on singing loudly. Keep on singing loudly. Never turning back. Never turning back. I'm gonna reach across our borders. Reach across our borders. Reach across our borders. Never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna keep on living proudly. Keep on living proudly. Keep on living proudly. Never turning back. No, never. Never turning back. I'm gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back.
As Willow extinguishes our chalice, please join me in the words that are in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Joan. Ocean, oh. Okay. Pride doesn't just take place in the streets and at the festivals. It occurs every time we look in the mirror and love what we see. Just a little bit more than the day before.
Pride pops up if it's seen when a grandfather in a diner is suddenly awakened and called out for his insensitive remarks. It pops up when a medical professional makes the effort to use the proper pronouns that a person identifies with. And it comes up when a trans woman is swirling with swirling fabric and size 14 high heels takes the stage.
Woo! Pride shows up when we tell our stories and embrace our truth, when our liberation soars beyond our fear, and when the glory of who we are ignites in power like the sun. Go in peace and pride and be a blessing to the world.
May it be so, may it be soon. We are everyone. Some of you have the words. And what I'd like to do is to encourage you to acknowledge something you may not be aware of. And that is that this July is Disability Pride Month. Woohoo! And I wanted to show you this shirt because it was from the Northeast Women's Musical Retreat, August 30th through September 2nd, 1991, in Hardwick, Massachusetts. And I was there. Yeah! Woohoo! Anybody else was there? Woohoo! Well, thing was, I was there with my then partner, Patty Deek, and we had the Crip cabin, and we didn't get to go to a lot of stuff because we were so busy trying to help the other women with disabilities survive in a sort of but not that accessible environment. And I just wanted to share one more thing. My all-time favorite button says, "I got this way from kissing girls." We are everyone, and we've only just begun to understand the truth that sets us free. We are everywhere, whenever people care, enough to be the best that we can be. We are every way that people love and pray, on the mountains, the deserts, and the sea. Everyone includes you and me. We're going to do the chorus a few times so you can sing it later. We're your sisters and your brothers, your fathers and your mothers. We are the fruit of every family tree, and the nuts. We're your neighbors and your friends. The circle never ends. We are every kind and we are each degree. For we are everyone, and we've only just begun to understand the truth that sets us free. We are everywhere, whenever people care, enough to be the best that we can be. Oh, we are every way that people love and pray, on the mountains, the deserts, and the sea. And everyone includes you and me. Every color, every shade, every class and every grade. For ages now the world has kept us down. We are rising now from our suffering. We've learned how to share the joy and beauty that we found. Come on, you can sing it now. Ready? Woo! We are everyone, and we've only just begun to understand the truth that sets us free. We are everywhere, whenever people care, enough to be the best that we can be. And we are every way that people love and pray, on the mountains, the deserts, and the sea. And everyone includes you and me. We are weak and we are strong. We are right and we are wrong. We're trying to make it better as we go. We are young and we are old. Our stories will be told. We're sharing with each other as we grow. Come on, we're growing together. Let's go! And we are everyone, and we've only just begun to understand the truth that sets us free. We are everywhere, whenever people care, enough to be the best that we can be, and we are every way that people love and pray, on the mountains, the deserts, and the sea. And everyone includes you and me. We are born and then we die, and in between we try to do the best we can with who we are. Together we find the bravest souls are kind, and always try to touch a shining star. 'Cause we are everyone, we've only just begun to understand the truth that sets us free. We are everywhere, whenever people care, enough to be the best that we can be, and we are every way that people love and pray, on the mountains, the deserts, and the sea. And everyone includes you and me, and that means everyone. I think it's time to eat.
Yes, special thanks to Maggie Goodwin and Ocean Phillips for helping to organize. Please join us outside. And of course, to everybody who participated and to all of you for being here, please join us outside for a potluck lunch, or a picnic lunch.